We have some good news. Many Tesla stock investors thought that the standard range Model 3 will no longer qualify for the full $7,500 tax credit in the US, but that may not be the case anymore. And I am not talking about a temporary solution here. We did learn about this just now also, that until April 18th, definitely for sure, the Model 3 standard range is going to still keep getting the tax credit, but if you read through this document from the government, it does appear that there is a way, even if your current vehicle does not get all of the batteries from within, let's say, the US or countries that would be okay for the US government, you may still be eligible for that credit until later dates. And in Tesla's case, I think that is certainly possible. There could certainly be an exception granted to Tesla because Tesla is pursuing a new US plant with China's dominant battery maker CATL. And the best part about this whole factory would be that Tesla would own the factory 100%, although Tesla would pay licensing fees to CATL. Here's also a thing that I'm wondering about. Is this the factory that Tom Zhu was talking about that would be built at the same time as the factory in Mexico? It's possible. I'm not sure. I thought that the other factory that Tesla would build would be specifically a factory for vehicles, not just batteries. So I would assume this is not it, but certainly that possibility remains, which then would suggest that Tesla would primarily focus flooding the new compact or the cheaper Tesla. They would focus on flooding that vehicle in the US market because of these huge tax credits. But we also know that Elon Musk is probably going to be going to China very soon to meet with China's premier, who is the second in command. That could also indicate that Tesla is going to expand Giga Shanghai. Tesla already wanted to expand Giga Shanghai from 1 million to about 2 million. So I'm pretty sure that Elon is going to try to solve this issue while all they're there. There's another possible reason why he may be going there. There's this other rumor from a source which you could possibly trust, but again, this is just a rumor, and this is the credibility of this person. He leaked this information before the media reported on this, and now he is saying that the refreshed Model 3 will start production early next month. So if that rumor is true, I would imagine that Elon would unveil that vehicle. The possibility still remains that the Model 3 may not get that full $7,500 tax credit. So let's take a look into what exactly does Tesla need to do to get that credit.
The Treasury Department just out with new tax incentives for EV battery production, a market dominated by one country right now, and that's China. Phil LeBeau has the details and whether this could be the long-awaited boost to EV battery production here in America. Phil.
It will be, Don. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Also, many people are no longer talking about the battery credits that go directly to the manufacturer. Everyone is just talking about the $7,500 tax credit to the consumer. But this goes directly to the manufacturer. So if Tesla produces the batteries itself, Tesla may get up to $45 per kilowatt hour. And that could mean thousands of dollars for each vehicle extra directly to Tesla. For example, for a Model 3, we could see about a $3,000 incentive additionally to Tesla. But these will be also split with the battery manufacturers. This is if Tesla makes the battery itself fully.
The question is, how quickly will we see that production, not just of battery packs, battery cells, but battery components? How quickly will it ramp up? So here are the new EV tax incentives that go into effect on April 18th. Remember, the most you can get is $7,500 if it's built here in the U.S., but it comes down to the battery. If 40% of the value of the critical minerals in that battery are processed or sourced in North America or free trade countries, If that happens, then you get 3750, then it ramps up by value up to 80% by 2027.
In other words, Tesla, in the worst case, could ship these batteries from China to the US and then assemble everything in the US, and Tesla should still be eligible for a good portion of that credit. That's the worst case if Tesla does not get the exemption.
The other part of this, it comes down to the battery components. We're talking about cathode, anode, copper foil. If 50% of the value of those battery components are coming from the U.S. or free trade countries, then you will get another 3750. And again, it ramps up to 100% by 2029. So what's the real implication in terms of how many people, or actually how many vehicles, that's really what we're talking about, will qualify for the full 7,500 or even 3,750? We're going to see a hit in the number of vehicles that can get that, and that may impact EV sales, at least in the near term, maybe the next year, year and a half, because so many vehicles will not qualify. So much is sourced in China, still sourced in China, or processed in China.
Overall, even if the Model 3 does not get the full tax credit anymore, this would still work in Tesla's favor because a lot more competitors would be losing the tax credits. So even though Tesla may lose a tax credit for specifically just the standard range Model 3, all other Tesla models would still get it, except for Model S and Model X, of course, because they are too expensive. But this would allow Tesla to keep the market share, maybe even grow its market share in the US, because all Model Y versions would still be eligible, as well as the Model 3 Performance, and the long-range Model 3 should be coming out sometime. We don't know exactly when, but it should be coming out soon. The Cybertruck should also probably qualify for the tax credits, and the Semi has its own tax credit as well, so all of these vehicles are good. Just maybe not all trims of a Cybertruck will qualify.
And then the battery components, while there is some coming from here, a lot of it is still coming from China. Though, when you look at somebody like Tesla, as you take a look at shares of Tesla, which, by the way, will report its deliveries for the first quarter over the weekend, Tesla gets its cathode, which is the most valuable part of the battery cell, that comes from a supplier in Japan. So Tesla is likely to have at least 3750 still applied to its vehicles. All of the automakers, Dom, they're figuring it out, and by April 18th, we will know what vehicles will still qualify for either 3750 or 7500.
And of course, that is tax day here in America, April 18th this year. That's the significance there.
Taxes. This reminds me of when I was a kid. I was so confused. Why do all of the grown-ups complain about taxes? Now, also keep in mind, I lived in Europe, and the taxes over there are even higher than in the US. And one of the grown-ups then once told me, okay, yeah, Matt, I can explain it to you why people don't like taxes and what's the big deal is all about. And he gives me a Snickers bar, and I was so happy. I loved these Snickers bars. Before I open it, he tells me, once you open it, you had to give half to me. And I'm like, why? He said, taxes. You got to pay your taxes. I was like, what? 50%? Half? So I open it and I give it to him. He gave it back to me, but the lesson stuck with me ever since then. And this is a great development. Tesla Model Y is now Sweden's best-selling car. Not just an EV, but overall, it's the best-selling car. It beat Volvo in Sweden. And this Volvo is the second best-selling vehicle in Sweden. This is not just for March. We know March was a big month for Tesla overall, but this is not based on just one single month. This is based on the whole first quarter. And looking at the chart here, clearly Model Y is comfortably ahead. It's not a difference of just 5 vehicles. The difference is hundreds of vehicles. It's certainly very possible that Tesla Model Y will become the world's best-selling vehicle this year. The all-in Tesla stock investor, the billionaire, Leo, he is estimating that Tesla will deliver 450,000 vehicles in Q1. If you are a short-term investor with a time horizon of just a few years or of just 1 year or of just a few months, of course, you want to pay very close attention to the deliveries. But if your time horizon is a long one, then I don't think looking at the quarterly deliveries makes much of a difference. If Tesla beats the estimates, great. We are still on track so far to 20 million deliveries in 2030. If we miss deliveries this quarter, also, it doesn't matter that much because Tesla would still be on track to deliver 20 million vehicles in 2030 because Tesla needs to grow by less than 50% each year to get to that target. It's of course interesting to look at these deliveries, but it doesn't fundamentally change much. Unless Tesla misses or beats the estimates by something like 100,000 deliveries, then yeah, that would actually make a difference. But if it's just 20,000 above or below the consensus, no difference really. And this is the Tesla stock buying opportunity explained by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Posius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.